Hi, folks. This is Deepak Shenoy from Capital Mind. Here's a Capital Mind presentation on what we've done to our website. A new set of changes, a new look. Capital Mind is now a much more functional site. If you go to capitalmind.in in your web browser, you're going to quickly see a lot of the stock. The immediate articles that you see are four in number. They're the top articles on the site. You can scroll down and see a bunch of new things. You can connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or otherwise. You can see on your left, you have a bunch of links that we have, or articles that we have written in the recent past. And then if you scroll further down, you're going to see a lot of our popular articles. The categories like stocks and opinion and charts, which are our most famous set of articles. You can see about 40 to 50 articles right on the home page. And if you click through into any article, it's going to give you a much more pleasing look to the eye when you actually use any of the articles, read through. One of the things that we've changed is that this site is now completely mobile responsive. So if you look at this stock or look at the site on your mobile, you will see just the same kind of website in a much more easily readable manner. A lot of the banners move to the bottom, and you can see a lot of the text and the images appropriately sized. What we also like to show you in this video is something that we've designed, which is Capital Mind Snap, and we use this quite often in our actual building of portfolios. When you look at snap.capitalmind.in, you get this fabulous data portal that we've built for you. And one among the links on the left, and we've described this in multiple videos before, but the link that we use most often is the outliers. If you click on stock outliers, our proprietary algorithm goes through all of the stocks on the National Stock Exchange or the NSE, and then crunches the data down so that you can see which stocks are moving and their outliers in terms of momentum. When you look at outliers, you see a bunch of stocks here on the left hand side. You see the stock names, whether they are small, mid, or large caps. The next column is the grade. This is a proprietary algorithm driven grade from 1 to 10, 10 being the strongest, 1 being the weakest. And you can filter this list now based on large, small, or mid caps so that you avoid, for instance, the small caps which tend to be manipulated, and say I want to look only at mid caps or only at large caps. I can also look at the price, the reason why this stock is an outlier. For instance, it could be an outlier because it's a breakout, it's reached an all time high 5 days or 9 days out of the last 30. We're looking at Kajaria Ceramics, which has been in an all time high for the last 9 days. So it's been making all time highs and making new all time highs for the last 9 days out of the last 30 days. This is a very strong outlier. We look at a small chart on the right hand side, and you can see now how one of the stocks we're going to demonstrate is can be analyzed. Now you look at the stock and it's an outlier, so what can you do with it? You click on the stock, you're actually going to see a bunch of things in the stock page. We have got a chart in here for you that actually again runs an algorithm and determines which areas of the stock are bearish and which are bullish. And right now it's in very strong bullish territory. Gati is a logistics provider, and it's been benefiting from the news that GST might actually come through. We're seeing this in the stock price in the last few days. And on the right, you'll see news that we have got from a number of news sources which talk about what Gati, what's happening with Gati. And in those articles, some of them come from Capital Mind itself, where we've written articles on some perhaps results about Gati or about the performance of Gati and so on. There's a bunch of things that happen over here. Also, we see the outlier history when you're in outliers. This, of course, is visible only to Capital Mind Premium subscribers, but you can actually see the history of how many times it has been an outlier. We actually picked this up when it was an outlier way back, and we were able to identify at this time that the stock was an outlier around May. and then it started to move, and it's moved so much from there that it's moved approximately I think about 39 to 40% from that date. And you can see heavy volumes have followed since that date. And then one of the reasons that it had become an outlier in the first place was that you could see activity in the stock both from a volume perspective. There was a MACD crossover, multiple day breakout, and you had volumes greater than a 20-day moving average. Gati by itself has been a phenomenal return in the last 1 month, and it was discovered on Outliers and further researched. If you look down further, you can actually see who owns Gati. So, a number of big investors have obviously invested in Gati. You can look at the promoter versus the foreign investor count. You can see here by clicking in the big promoters list, remove the promoters. Who else owns this stock? There's Macquarie Bank. There is a number of individual investors as well. Click on any investor, you can see all the other investments made by that investor. There's Ashish Kacholia. You might recognize this person because he's a big investor. He invests in many companies, and a lot of them he has discovered from when they were very small and unknown to where they are now. You can see all of his holdings. So you've just gone through, clicked through, and found out what Ashish Kacholia holds in his own name. As you can see, there are a number of stocks here. We've actually come to this process through Outliers into the stock page and discovered it. If we go back into the stock page, you can see a number of other things, including bulk deals that have happened in this stock. There was an FII entity which has brought it through Morgan Stanley Asia Singapore, and another company in India that has sold shares in it recently. So you can look at that and the date, and then you can see whether this stock is where the stock is in comparison with its 52-week high, with its all-time high. It's still, despite this move, lesser than half of its all-time high, and lesser about 25% below its 52-week high at 150. It's also a stock that seems to be higher than all of the standard moving averages, above the 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200-day moving averages. In turn, the 200-day, the stock has moved down and then back up. So we could see this. And if you actually go right up and then looked at the chart right on top, just below the chart, there is another link called Advanced Technical Chart. If we click that, and then we go into another charting system where you can have a lot of technical indicators on the same chart, you can see how Gati is performing. This is a MACD at the bottom and the stock price chart on the top. You can add indicators and look at where Gati is right now. It looks like it's moved a lot, but guess what? It was at a higher level just 1 year ago. So there is potential, perhaps, if you look at not even 1 year ago, perhaps about 6 months ago, when the news that GST would probably not happen kind of hit the street, and it's gone all the way to 342 at the top. We've identified for you a number of ways you can do things, and one of the things you can do is draw trend lines. If you see this trend line that's coming in from that top that was made in 2015 to approximately it was made actually in 2014, I think, and then now it's come back all the way down, and now it's broken that trend line back up again. It's been a strong trend line moving back up. This is the weekly chart, not the daily chart. You can see how the stock's actually broken out of a long-term downtrend. Now let's go back into Outliers, and we can actually see in the outlier list itself a number of stocks. One of the things that we can do with a stock itself is we can go into notes. You say, I like this stock. You know what? If it pulls back a little bit, maybe to 145, that's when I'm going to buy this stock. You can actually write a little note over here that says, I like this stock for these reasons. I have identified it. I want to buy on a pullback to 145. So, except this is great to say, but you know what? I really want to buy this stock. So why don't I just say I'll buy it and I'll add this to my portfolio. I could do this by just clicking on the portfolio button, going and when you go into the my notes section, you can see the stock in the notes section, and you could have multiple notes on multiple stocks all of them can be highlighted here. Just go in there, click it, and you'll get to the stock itself, and then you can see the notes that you have by clicking on the show notes button uh, as well. Now let's go to portfolio and say I want to add Gati to my portfolio, right? We have nothing in the portfolio right now. I'm just going to say add it. If you add Gati to the portfolio, it immediately shows you what Gati is, whether it's an outlier, what if you haven't entered a quantity, it's not going to show you much, but you can add quantities as well, where you say I have added a transaction saying I have bought Gati or at for about, let us say, 100 shares at 159.85. Now this automatically allows me to see the portfolio with my current market value. On the right hand side, you can see a set alert button. The set alert button allows you to now set an alert saying, listen, if it goes back to if it goes down by a trailing stop loss percentage of 5%, that means if it drops 5% from its high, I bought it today at 159, it went to 160, and then it drops back 5%. 5% is of 160 is 8 rupees. So if it drops back to 152, let me know. Then if it doesn't drop back to 152, but it actually goes up to 180 instead, from 180, a 5% trailing stop is 9 rupees. So let me know at 171 that it has dropped back. So anytime a 5% from its highest point after I've bought the stock is when it's going to alert me by email that this stock has hit your stop loss percentage. At the same time, I could have a target saying, listen, I want to take 20% profits. So let me know if the stock reaches 20% above. You just click that and then leave it in here. It's going to run the system and keep telling you every day if the stock has moved down 5% from its high after you've bought it. That means the today's high was actually a little bit higher than 160. So that's why 153.61 is where the trailing stop alert hits, and 20% above is 194. So if it goes to 194, you're going to get an alert. The one click way to get a quick alert about a stock, even if you don't own it, that might be a way to say, let me know if the stock pulls back 5% anytime. So anytime it pulls back 5%, you're going to get an email. Finally, let's take a look at stocks that might be interesting. In July, there are not many results left to show, but if you look at stocks that are announcing bonuses or splits, you'll see that all these stocks are mentioned in here. Tomorrow we have Gru and Rallis giving you dividends. There is an ITC bonus, one share for every 2 shares you own. That's going to happen on July 1st. And you can move these around and see where things are for the next month and what has happened as well. This is how Snap works. This works on the mobile as well, completely responsive. You will love this website to discover and trade stocks. We hope you use this as much as you can. Some of these features are only available for premium subscribers like the portfolio elements, but many of the others are available to you as a user of this website. We would love to hear feedback on what you can do with outliers and what you would like about them. Thanks so much, and thanks for watching.